Hey everybody, welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler with TCGplayer as always, and this week we are having fun with Davriel. That's right, Davriel from War of the Spark. I thought 8-Rack when I saw it, and you know what? 8-Rack put up a 5-0 finish in Magic Online with Davriel as a 3-of, as well as Liliana's Triumph as a new card. And I don't think I've ever done it on Mining Modern before. It seemed like the perfect opportunity here, so I'm going to go ahead and bottom that land. Now keep in mind, I'm definitely not an expert at this deck. We've got our Raven's Crime here, we've got our Thoughtseize. I mean, heck, maybe I was supposed to keep that land on top. Like I said, new to playing the Rack, that's for sure. But hey, Davriel is a pretty cool card. I've certainly lost to it in Limited enough at this point that figured we'd give it a shot in Modern. It represents something that the deck has never had access to. It's a win condition and a discard effect all in one. I mean, basically the closest you got before was maybe Liliana, right? Where Liliana, I mean, you know, the ultimate is kind of a win condition, but I mean, Davriel will actually kill them. It, you know, serves as a Rack effect, which is what you really want here. So let's go ahead and Thoughtseize our opponent. Get things started here. Not really sure what's going to be going on here. All right, so Planestorm, huh? We got Lootings, we got Sleight of Hands, we got Manamorphoses. Those are all pretty good. We can do some work on their hand here over the next few turns. I'm going to take the Looting, I think. I might just take the Sleight of Hand. I mean, we're not going to be able to stop the Looting no matter what we do. But next turn I can actually double Raven's Crime them. So not impossible for Storm to beat us, but I imagine it's probably a pretty good matchup for us. I can Raven's Crime, play my second Swamp, pitch the Mutavault. Remember, the Retrace on Raven's Crime means I can discard a land to replay the card. Oh, okay. My opponent Thing in the Ice instead. So they're actually, okay. Understood. Well, this might work out as well. It's going to be pretty difficult for them to flip that. And there's a Shrieking Affliction. That's another win condition. Not that we need any of those right now. But we'll go ahead and, you know, attack their hand as best we can here. They have two Faithless Lootings we know about, right? They have a Steam Vents and a Manamorphose. So we know their hand. The only question is going to be what they choose to discard here when they have to discard two cards. So Faithless Looting number 1 hits the bin. Now we'll hit them again here. Throw away the Mutavault. Probably going to pitch the Steam Vents here if I had to guess. But we're, you know, they might still flip this Thing in the Ice and kill us before we can find an answer with Faithless Looting and Manamorphose in hand. But hey, I mean, we did the best we could, right? I mean, in theory, they won't transform it this turn, right? I mean, they probably will. That's how the deck works, after all. But, I mean, we do have the Ensnaring Bridges, we have the Fatal Pushes, we have some outs to this Thing in the Ice, even if they do manage to go ahead and flip it here before we can do too much about it. They're going to go ahead and cycle their Manamorphose. Alright, well, fingers crossed. This is just going to be, can we find an answer before, you know, they're able to beat us to death with this Awoken Horror. So the problem for us, too... Manamorphose and a Manamorphose, yep. Sure feels like I'm playing against Arclight Phoenix. Drawing the 3 win conditions is pretty unfortunate. And the thing is, some of our outs are Ensnaring Bridge. So even if I draw a land, I can't necessarily just throw it away to Raven's Crime them to death. You know, I do feel fine once we get... You know, my opponent had to top deck the Thing in the Ice on turn 2 there, and then managed to transform it here. And we're not dead yet either, although it looks like they're going to end up flipping it this turn most likely. All they need to do is find a Phyrexian Mana spell or any 1-mana blue spell. Manamorphose will do that for you. You know, at the time, you know, I took the Sleight of Hand, and I thought maybe we were playing against Storm. I think it was the right call, but it is unfortunate. Our opponent just had it all here. Double Phoenix pitched, which means I drew them off the Faithless Looting. Wow, pretty broken. Oh, we only made him discard 3 cards by turn 2, and on turn 3 we took 6, and we almost took 13. I guess land bridge means we can take another hit here. So all is not lost yet, although This is why people wanted this stupid deck banned. As it turned out, at least with the London Mulligan, it was fine. Although, if you think about it, all the cantrips in this deck means that Mulligan's better than something like Tron, whereas so Tron was obviously very helped by the London Mulligan. Although it didn't even post a 50% win rate, you know. So I think I talked about this last week, but London Mulligan, we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping it sticks around for a while. All right, let's see what we can hit here. Something tells me this Thoughtseize probably not exactly what we're looking for, but I guess if we're going to hit bridges now, we do need to get a card out of our hand, so go ahead and cast it. We'll go down to 6, or go down to 10 here. Lightning Bolt and a Thing in the Ice. Well, I guess we'll take the Bolt so that we don't die. What do you think? Alright, and now we will Shrieking Affliction our opponent. So, hey, we did it. Our win condition's online. Now all we have to do is draw cards that I don't think are in our deck. Fatal Push doesn't do it at this point. Ensnaring Bridge we have to have a land for, so I guess that doesn't really do it either. So, probably just got Phoenixed out of this one, I think. We have Leyline of the Voids on our sideboard, and I think that seems fine. You know, Leyline of the Void to stop the recursion of the Arclight Phoenix deck, even though you don't want to go all in on Graveyard Hate, but I think there's enough value with the Leylines that we can then lean on our hand disruption to keep them from going too crazy with Thing in the Ice. But as it turns out, my opponent just top decks a spell anyways and has this turn. Not that it particularly mattered. Alright, so onto the sideboard here. What do we have to work with? What would be good here? Liliana's Triumph seems... I mean, I guess it seems good against Thing in the Ice, right? It seems good on 2, not good on not good once the Phoenixes are involved. Leyline and damn Bantus. Honestly, our entire deck seems pretty reasonable against them. Let's see here. I think that we want to cut maybe the Rack. I think maybe we can slow down a little bit on our win conditions here. Smallpox seems pretty good, honestly. I'm going to cut a 3-drop. I'm going to cut a Liliana. Well, Liliana's very good. Alright, I want the bomb, I think. Really what I want is Waste Not, but you know what? I'm playing Waste Not because why not? It's the most fun here. It's definitely the most enjoyable card of the bunch, so good enough for me, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and cut. I'm going to cut a Liliana, just because the minus, it's very good, obviously, against Thing in the Ice, but we have the Fatal Push and the Liliana's Triumph, and at some point there's just too many 3-drops in the deck. Now, I have no idea, maybe we're supposed to, maybe I want like the Bantu's Last Reckoning, or the Damnation. I have no idea how to play this deck, we'll just be clear about that up front. But we cut some of the discard. We added in some more card-specific stuff here, and you know, I guess I'm in on this hand. It is a mulligan to 6 essentially with the double Urborg, but we have the Fatal Push, we have a Rack, we have an Inquisition. I mean, those seem like the cards we want, right? Let's see what we find over here. And you never know. If we hit Smallpox or something, we'll do something to get value out of that. All right, so Faithless Looting, Serum Visions. That's a whole bunch of stuff. It's not even a broken Faithless Looting for what it's worth here. This is kind of a hard decision. So I have the Fatal Push for Thing in the Ice, so I'm not going to take the Thing. I think I want to take the Looting. It has, you know, it kind of feels bad to do that, but, you know, this has the most potential to be broken out of their deck, so I think I'm fine with this. Next turn we can push and play the Rack. I mean, obviously we need to draw well, but keep in mind how many good draws we have. You know, any of the Planeswalkers are at least solid. Our opponent's going to be doing nothing for a few turns here. In fact, I'll probably even let them untap with the Thing in the Ice to try to, you know, start casting their spells to transform it. But even we have a few turns, so we're going to have a couple really key draw steps here. And it's not going to take much for us to get back in it. But on the other hand, if we hit a few lands here, I think we're going to find that our opponent's able to turn the corner around turn 4 or 5. So fingers crossed. I'd be pretty happy with a Smallpox too. We have the lands to throw away to it. If I were to hit, you know, discard spell of some kind here, if I hit Waste Not, right, and then I hit Smallpox, how much of the dream would that be? All right, Bantu's Last Reckoning. That's something, anyways. All right, we'll play the Rack. We'll choose our opponent, even though it won't do anything now. But Bantu's Last Reckoning is not bad, even though it's weird. It came out in Hour of Devastation, and the entire cycle, people couldn't tell if they were broken or not. Very undercosted effect, but there's a real cost, too. Your lands don't untap. So in this deck, though, that's generally okay. You're locking your opponent out, and you just need to clean up what's on the board, and it's the cheapest way to do that. Obviously, I had the Damnation that we brought in as well, but Bantu's Last Reckoning kind of fits in ensnaring bridge decks specifically in a way that it doesn't really fit in anything else. So I think that's actually kind of a cool feature of Modern, that something as niche as Bantu's Last Reckoning actually found, a really specific home. My opponent, by the way, did not hit land off of that Serum Visions. They do have the op, so there is no thing in the ice this time around. So that actually buys us a turn. Our opponent they're really kind of a fragile-ish combo deck once you introduce as much hand disruption as we have, and their combo is to either chain together a bunch of spells and Arc-like Phoenixes, or to flip a thing in the ice. And if we're able to attack their hand, they can't do that very well. Now, the sideboard plan for this deck is to sideboard into Planeswalkers, Chandra, that sort of thing. And honestly, a turn 4 Chandra here could be a real problem. We just need to draw something good on our next turn to interact in some way here with their hand, specifically, not with the board. My opponent really thinking on the Serum Visions. I mean, it's a difficult call for them too, but they ended up going one top, one bottom there. All right, fingers crossed yet again. Let's see what we can do here. Bantu's Last Reckoning was not at all the kind of effect we needed, because our hand right now is setting up to lose pretty hard to a Planeswalker on turn 4. And a Shrieking Affliction, that's I'll tell you, that's really not where we wanted to be. I guess I'm seeing the downside of 8-Rack here. Like I said, not a lot of experience with it myself, but I'm like, yeah, you tear apart their hand with discard spells. What could go wrong? It seems like a great strategy. But I guess sometimes it goes like this instead. Look, I boarded out one, maybe 2 discard effects, but honestly, I feel like the deck still has plenty. I just feel like we've drawn... I mean, in game 1, we drew, 3 of our 7 racks, and here in game 2, we've drawn 2 of the 6 so far, so... along with the 4 lands. I don't know. It seems like that's the recipe for losing. But hey, that's also the cost of playing a deck like this. We're playing a mono black deck. That means no Serum Visions, no Faithless Looting, no Ancient Stirrings. I just named 3 cards in 3 other colors that really make the decks in those colors more consistent. And we don't really have anything like that for black. Black is sort of the poster child of color you pair with another color, whether it's green to give you, a board presence, or whether it's blue to give you the card selection. You play a mono black deck, and you just run into the risk of just drawing your cards in the wrong order like this, which could be a problem. So my opponent is adding 2 red mana to their pool. They're going to braid the Rack. Okay. My opponent going very slow over there. Honestly, they're giving us a way back into the game. I mean, that Rack wasn't really going to do much. Certainly not for, anytime soon. Oh, my opponent black. Okay, they're going to Surgical us. They're using black mana produced off our Urborg to Surgical the Rack. All right, that's fine. That makes sense. Honestly, I'm okay with this. I don't want to draw the Rack. I have a Shrieking Affliction in play. I have a path to winning the game. I have Davriel's. Getting rid of the Rack just doesn't even do that much. And my opponent's not getting any value off of it. It just means they're not doing anything. And every turn that goes by like this is another turn I could draw Raven's Crime and just make them discard 2. I could draw... I guess Smallpox doesn't do much here, but just giving us a chance to get back in this game the slower they go like this. Racks or not. Interesting decision by my opponent. I like the value they got off adding the black. It was probably too tempting to pass up. But hey, I think I get another turn here, right? I think we're on our draw step. Coming up, we get to find another chance at a discard spell. And we could really blow this open if we hit even just an Inquisition or something. We could hit a Swamp instead. I guess I'll keep these in case I draw Raven's Crime. I could make my opponent discard 3 with it. That'd be pretty nice. What I should have maybe brought in, like I said, I have no idea, is Delirium Skeins good here? For those who don't know, that's a 3-mana card. It says each player discards 3. So for you're after casting that card, you're down 4 cards from where you started. It's really painful, but sometimes if you have 1 or 2 cards in hand, I would gladly discard my hand right now to make them discard theirs. So You just kind of have to look at it that way. All right, so we can Fatal Push the Thing in the Ice, and I guess keep parity for another turn with our opponent. They're gonna go for a Faithless. They're gonna Lightning Bolt us. Wow, this is so aggressive. Okay, they're gonna Lightning Bolt us in their main phase. Their main phase 1. And now they're gonna pass. I'm gonna Fatal Push the Thing in the Ice. I'm sure this is what they were baiting, but I'm looking at it this way. They're down to 3 cards in hand now. Give me a discard spell, please. Not quite, but not the worst. I'll play the Liliana here. We'll plus it up to 4. So the good thing here is even if my opponent has an Arclight Phoenix to discard, which, you know, they very well might, they'd have to string together something, either cantrips or their draw step to even bring it back. And even if they do, we'd still get 1 more activation out of Liliana on the discard. So our opponent pretty much needs to untap into something good. Now, keep in mind that is what their deck does at this point, especially. They could go up to 4 mana, play a Chandra, Torch of Defiance, and then our number of outs to that card are just pitifully low, right? They discarded the Flame Slash. Okay, so do we actually know what's in their hand at this point? No, I believe they cast all of these cards. All right, well, this is a big turn here. If our opponent hits the 4th land and has the payoff card, we could be in trouble. But Faithless Looting is, you know what? I don't. If they hit Phoenixes, they hit Phoenixes. That's pretty bad for us. I guess I do have the Bontu's Last Reckoning. I mean, gosh, imagine a turn here. I mean, we don't know what my opponent's going to do, but even if they got a Phoenix back and poked our Liliana, we could untap, draw 1 mana discard spell, hit their hand, play Bontu's Last Reckoning to get the Phoenix off the board, and then they have no hand to bring it back. You know, like I said, Phoenix is obviously enormously powerful, but you have to be able to string together the spells to get it back, and right now my opponent's not able to do that, and they don't even have one to put in the graveyard, so right now they're down to 2 cards, and they actually have nothing, and if they cast a spell here, that doesn't cantrip anyways, they're going to be in range of Shrieking Affliction to start getting them. And my opponent going for the Manamorphose here. Makes sense if they hit a Faithless Looting or a land, they could Faithless Looting some Arclights into the graveyard. They're still live to get some back this turn. Not there yet, but certainly a possibility. This is maybe a good problem for 8-Rack to have, but we might be entering the other issue here where our discard spells don't do anything, but instead we hit a Fatal Push. Pretty much a perfect draw. I'm happy to throw away this other land here so I can keep access to both of these. So now Shrieking Affliction, they're on a clock. They're now on a 6-turn clock with the Shrieking Affliction in play. This is why I didn't care. They threw away that Surgical Extraction on the Rack, and it did not work out for them. And the thing is, the Thing in the Ice, thing about the Thing, Thing in the Ice doesn't threaten my Liliana. You know, I have an answer to it in Liliana, but at this point of the game, Thing in the Ice is an 0-4. With Defender, I might add. Can't even mutagenic growth that thing in. But we're going to make them get rid of their last card. We'll throw away our Swamp here. They will pitch... Oh, it was a Lightning Bolt. Okay. So yeah, we'll just pass the turn back. I mean, we're, I think, just going to win 6 turns from now, right? Our opponent needs... It's by no means over. I mean, it is going to be rough for them. Basically, they need to hit land. Basically, they need to hit a land this turn and then next play it, and then next turn Faithless Looting to try to get Phoenixes into the graveyard, but string together Manamorphoses to bring them back. I mean, it's honestly it's a tall order for our opponent to get out of this one. If we pull this game out, that'd be something, because we were pretty far behind earlier. So here comes the Faithless Looting. This is what I like. My opponent is gonna work. I guess work hard on trying to transform the Thing in the Ice. I don't really know what their plan is here, though. I mean, it is kind of a free Faithless Looting, and well, no, it's not. Well, they have another one in there, yeah. So the first one, at least, is sort of free in that sense. It can find them. They throw away Faithless Looting and a Scalding Tarn, but I was gonna say, really, they'd want to hit Phoenixes, throw the Phoenixes away, play a land, go down to 0 cards in hand, and then next turn try to get them back. That's really their only way to deal with Liliana at this point. I'm going to Fatal Push this Thing in the Ice on the instep here. I'm going to Liliana the last card out of their hand, depending on what we draw anyways. In fact, well, I guess the thing is if I hit Davriel or something, they probably can't even transform the Thing in the Ice. Yeah, this play doesn't look very good for my opponent. Oh my gosh. Okay, the value. We did it! Liliana's Triumph with Liliana Flavor win. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If I control Liliana Planeswalker, which I do, they also discard a card. So there goes the Thing in the Ice. There goes their last card in hand. I guess I have to throw away my own, I don't know, I suppose Fatal Push at this point to plus my Liliana. Oh, their last card was a Surgical, actually. Okay. Well, now I guess I am going to have to push this stupid thing. Or I can just not activate Liliana. Or I can minus Liliana. Well, no, it doesn't matter. The Triumph is going to get it. This card's good. This card is great in Modern. Just, I'm telling you, just as an Edict effect, an Instant Speed Edict named after Cruel Edict. The card has Val... Oh, they named Fatal Push. I see. Alright, fair enough. Anyways, Surgical not actually doing a little bit of work there. I guess I could have seen what they targeted and used it in response, but I'm not too concerned. It actually just doesn't even matter, right? It was going to go away no matter what. And so was the Thing in the Ice, so this is fine. Question is, do I want to throw away my Bantu's Last Reckoning to plus my Liliana, or do I just keep Liliana where it's at? Honestly, I might keep it where it's at, right? We're really not under much pressure here at all, so 4-turn clock on Shrieking Affliction, by the way. So yeah, this is just really falling further and further behind for my opponent. And the thing is, Liliana can be free for us if we keep the card in hand here. If we throw away Bantu's Last Reckoning and my opponent were to, I don't know. I don't even know, right? But they could do something there. That would be scary, right? They could play Peeing. They don't have them. I don't know. I don't know what they could play. The point is, as long as I have the Bantu's Last Reckoning in hand, having a Liliana at 6 doesn't do much, but having Bantu's Last Reckoning means if they do somehow put together a Phoenix turn, we have an answer. If they just have a Thing in the Ice, we have an answer. And putting Liliana from 5 to 6 is only useful in the context of ultimating it, and as much as it sounds weird to say, not a lot of value to ultimating Liliana right now. Well, there we hit an Ensnaring Bridge. Honestly, that one will just wrap it up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll discard the Bantu's Last Reckoning now because it doesn't matter. I'll play the bridge and pass the turn, and the game should be over. My opponent's final card in hand. They're going to play it in response. Oh, it's a Snapcaster Mage, actually. So there you go. This Ensnaring Bridge is going to come invaluable. Snapcaster Lightning Bolt. Snapcaster Lightning Bolt just to keep the Liliana from ultimating next turn. I think I'll probably play Bridge and they'll just scoop, though. I mean, they're not going to get out from underneath the Shrieking Affliction at this point. And even if they did, I mean, we're eventually going to find the Davriel, right? And play that, and that'll finish them off. So, things going just fine for us right now. Alright, Ensnaring Bridge, pass the turn, go to 6 from Shrieking Affliction. This one should be enough, I would say. But my opponent is going to carefully think it through. They cast a lot of spells this game to not find an Archetype Phoenix in there or be able to transform Thing in the Ice. Honestly, our deck worked kind of perfectly, and their deck just drew all air, right? I guess that's kind of the best way to put it. They found they found their Flame Slashes and their Cantrips and their Faithless Looting and their Manamorphoses, but they drew 2 cards that mattered, 2 Thing in the Ices. That's it. And they just gave us all the time in the world to get set up, and now they're locked out. I suppose there are some ways in which they could get out from under Shrieking Affliction, but I don't see a way for them to beat Shrieking Affliction and Ensnaring Bridge plus Liliana in this game. So on to game 3 pretty quickly, I would hope. My opponent's still dedicated to seeing this one through, though. They're going to flashback the Faithless Looting. If they keep land in hand... Well, they can't even keep land bolt, so I don't even know what they're looking for here. They did finally find an Arclight Phoenix. 25 cards down, they've managed to discard an Arclight Phoenix. Good to know that these things happen to other people as well. Alright, play a second bridge. We drew pretty well, by the way, in this one. I suppose I should emphasize that the proper amount is we got very lucky. We drew... We had a very questionable hand. Our opponent didn't have anything to punish us. Well, our hand, it was going to be questionable, right? It was just always had a possibility of failing, but it didn't. And we drew the bridges when we needed them. We drew the Triumph. We drew the Fatal Pushes. We had everything that we wanted. And now we get to game 3. My opponent just, you're way lower on clock than me, buddy. Let's just get on to game 3. You're dead on board. Not my style. I'm happy to scoop when I'm dead. All right. So I actually didn't play I meant to bring these ley lines in, and then I just forgot. All right. So we're going to cut a Raven's Crime. We're going to cut the Rack here. Like I said, I really don't mind cutting the win conditions just because we can just, a deck like Phoenix, we can, to an extent, actually just lock them out. Alright, I do really, really, really like the Waste Not value as a thing. And this is the kind of deck where I think we want the Waste Not value. Liliana, incidentally, becomes much worse on the draw here. Because it can kind of answer a thing in the ice. Yeah, I think cutting win conditions has just got to be correct. Maybe I can cut a Triumph here since we cut a Liliana. This is hard. I'm going to give this a shot. We still have 2 Wraths, plus the Fatal Pushes, plus the Smallpoxes to stop the thing in the ice. So what we are lighter on is discard here, so... this hand is... honestly, I'm going to mulligan this hand. It's got some things there that make me almost want to keep it, and we get hosed here. Now, this is the hand I am going to keep, because I think I just have to keep it. Look how good this hand is if we have a swamp. We have two looks at it. Honestly, 3 looks at it, kind of. So, this is going to be a calculated risk, but if this hand works out, it's going to be pretty good. We'll start by bottoming that one. That was our second land, but it wasn't a swamp. There's 13 swamps in the deck, plus the 4 Urborgs. So 17 out of 53 are our odds right now. And we have 2 shots at it. Now, and keep in mind, it's not like we lose the game if we don't hit it in our first... We get to hit it on turn 4 and maybe win, right? If we were to... I suppose, there's the argument for the Mutavault, is having the Ratchet Bomb, but I think you have to be disciplined and bottom the Mutavault there and just, hey, accept that you are taking a risk of finding me 3 cards, right? So 17 out of 54 3 times, that's what those odds amount to. So, look at that. We did it. Never didn't have it, as a matter of fact. Easy game, easy life. Thoughtseize you, please. That's that kind of luck I need to bring to the Brew Crew this year for or this season for the standard Modern Super League, Team Modern Super League. Very much excited about that. All right, so Faithless Waste Not against Faithless Looting. I didn't even think about that. Whenever an opponent discards oh, this is sick. I'm so excited. I've been looking for a good Waste Not deck to play in Modern for a very long time, specifically for Mighty Modern, not, I love Waste Not. I've played a lot of these cards actually in Commander. I play Waste Not and things like Liliana's Caress and Delirium Schemes, all of my Nicol Bolas the Ravager Commander deck. So definitely a fan of cards like this, and I've been looking for a good Waste Not brew. So if anyone has one, and I don't just want a Waste Not 8-rack deck or something, right? Like I want something that's built to play Waste Not and get value out of it, but also be a deck that can function without Waste Not, right? I understand I'm looking for something specific, but hey, that's the point of Mighty Modern. I want brews, but I want brews there's something there. Something that can be competitive. And Waste Not is so powerful. The fact that it has there's just this incidental value against something like Faithless Looting is hilarious. It's just a sweet card all around. So ship me your list. Ship me your best Waste Not list, and happy to play them and shout you out if any catch my eye as being viable. All right, so we're getting, again, because our opponent wanted to be mana efficient, I suppose, bolted on turn 1. But quite honestly, man, that Lightning Bolt might have more value as a card to discard, because next turn we're coming for you. I can't make them discard lands, unfortunately, but what this Waste Not does do, and this is just disgusting, is if my opponent's play here on turn 3 is to flashback Faithless Looting, we're going to get 2 triggers off of Waste Not. That's just awesome to me. And hey, next turn we get to play the Rack and play the Inquisition of Kozilek, and possibly more. Like I said, I can't make them discard lands to give myself mana with Waste Not, but we will get something else. So, all right, well, we don't have a ton of options here, but I'm going to go ahead and Thoughtseize my opponent. If they are sitting on a Chandra or something, this is a pretty key chance for us to get it. And hey, if we make them discard a non-creature, non-land card, we get to draw a card. We get to hit a swamp and play the Inquisition, just chain it all out, right? But my opponent's going to respond to the Thoughtseize here. Like I said, their clock might become a concern. They've played, as you can see, much slower than me throughout this match, which is fine. You get the time you're allotted to. Oh, we've been Spell Pierce. That's actually very good. Very nice play by our opponent. Maybe I should have led with the Rack. Maybe they would have Spell Pierced the Rack, and I could have got him with the Thoughtseize. Because this could be a problem, right? The Mutavault and the Ratchet Bomb are somewhat helpful here. But if my opponent just has a Chandra, we're in, a little bit of troubling concern. Now, I wonder how this reads. I wonder what the Oracle text on this card is. The beginning of the chosen player's upkeep. I mean, this would be the Oracle text, right? I don't think it can be redirected to Planeswalkers, but it's weird because maybe... Oh, that's right. The rule actually hurt 8 Rack, right? You used to be able to redirect damage from the Rack to Planeswalkers because it deals it as damage to the player, but I don't know if that's the case anymore. It doesn't say any target, and it doesn't say player or Planeswalker to my knowledge, so I feel like maybe that actually won't work. Interesting. It's the way it should be, in my opinion. I mean, it seems like the way it would make the most sense. But, all right, so my opponent did not have... Let's see if they have another Spell Pierce. They didn't have any threats. I guess if they're countering, Spell Pierce and Inquisitions is a win for them. They didn't, though. So, okay. All right, Dispel. Oh, this is so bad for them. I'm just going to... They have Shatterstorm? Sure, I'm going to take the Surgical and I'm going to draw a card. That or take the Dispel and draw a card, but I don't even care about Dispel. I really don't care about Bolt. I do care about drawing a card off of Waste Not. We did it. We officially cycled our Waste Not. Don't really have the lands to throw away to that one either, the Raven's Crime, but just any discard effect is good next turn. So here comes the Lightning Bolt. Just bizarre, actually. Put us down to 12. It just means you're taking damage off the Rack. Now, maybe you determine your only way to win is you're not going to get there with Phoenixes or whatever. You're just going to have to burn us to death. That's a reasonable conclusion, I think. We're just one swamp away from from completely locking this one up, I think. Raven's Crime is a nice start. There's a sleight of hand for our opponent. This is so good. They can't Faithless Looting because of the Waste Not in play. That's just beautiful. Although... the Faithless Looting could set up Phoenixes later in the game, the way this is going here. All right, let's see what we hit. Inquisition again. All right, that allows me to at least control what my opponent's discarding, so I guess I'm in. All right, so we still know they have Dispel, I believe. They Dispel, Shadowstorm, and a Phoenix. Okay. Well, we'll hit the Dispel. I get to draw a card. Please give me a land. Another Waste Not. Okay. Well, I guess I can play the bomb and then... I mean, actually the biggest concern right now, I think, is if our opponent just plays a land, plays the Phoenix, and attacks us. And I can play the bomb, and I can pop the bomb for nothing, I guess, to get value off of Fatal Push, even. still pretty difficult for our opponent to, I think, to figure out exactly what they want to do here. But, well, lightning bolts is not bad. All right, well, the good news is I can Raven's Crime here. Oh, thank gosh. Okay. That's pretty helpful, I think. I'm going to start by... I have options here. I can play the Raven's Crime, and if I draw a land off of it, I can actually make them hit their other card. Or I can play the Ratchet Bomb to set up for being able to kill the Phoenix next turn. For all I know, they're going to discard the Phoenix so we don't draw a card. Probably shouldn't have played my land, actually, there. That would be... it doesn't... Their only way to win is to play the Phoenix anyways, so... I'm going to be safe here. Although, well... You know, the thing is, that said, I can't... you know, now that I hit the land, I could always play the Ratchet Bomb and the push next turn. So playing it this turn actually doesn't really do anything, so maybe I should have played the Wasteland there and drawn an extra card. But I suppose by doing it this way, then I actually have some answer against, say, the... do this now so I don't forget. I have an answer this way to a thing in the ice, at least, so that's something for us here. And my opponent, I mean, yeah, my opponent is just trying to go land, play Phoenix, attack me down to 6, and then draw lightning bolts. Wow, what a blowout for them, though. The land they hit is a tapped land, and I get to Raven's Crime. Oops. Do this the right way. I get a Raven's Crime away the Arclight Phoenix, and that should win us the game. We found the Urborg to discard. I can't believe we won this match. What a crazy match. Alright, this should be the scoop. Discard that. I'll get some tokens here with the Waste Knots because, hey, why not? And we'll pass the turn. I mean, we do still have to finish our opponent off, but they're taking 3 from the rack here. And then they're taking 6 on our turn if we fire up the Mutavault. So that's 12 by my count. So yeah, they're actually not dead even next turn. So I don't know what they... I guess Phoenix put us down to 6. Don't die. Next turn, hit Bolt. Attack with Phoenix, kill us. That's their line to winning here. Oh, Faithless Looting, not your line to winning, friend. I could even blow Ratchet if I needed, because I'm going to get land. Yeah, see, I'm going to get land off the Waste Knots here. Well, is the Phoenix going to be back when I... Oh, I'm going to lose my mana before the Phoenix is gone. Oh, so this game's not over. I think my opponent can still only get me to 3, but the game's not over. Alright, I do have 8 mana I have to let go waste here. Was that even 3? Wasn't even 3 spells for my opponent. I thought they had 3 spells there. It doesn't even matter. Alright. Inquisition. There's the thing in the ice that my opponent was never going to be able to do anything about. I'm going to keep up Fatal Push, I suppose, rather than try to get in for an extra 2 points of damage, which don't matter because they're dead next turn anyways. Wow, we really did get value off those Waste Knots, didn't we? I don't know if for sure we won because of Waste Knot, but I mean, we are at, you know, a life total that could theoretically be burned out from our opponent, although my opponent's just going to time out before they actually lose anyways. But wow, what a match. We did it, everybody. Couldn't even play a Davriel. 3 games, we never played Davriel, but that was still fun. Liliana's Triumph came in clutch. That was a good one, everyone. We're going to play some more of that deck. Thank you for watching. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern. Hey, everybody. Here we go with some more Davriel 8 rack here. And, yeah, I think I'm into this hand. It's a little questionable, but hey, we're on the draw, and the Raven's Crime there helps a little bit. Just need to find a black source. I suppose Field of Ruin will always get us there eventually. Alright, so just go ahead and lead on our Inquisition here. Caves of Quillos passed from our opponent. I assume some sort of taxes deck, and here you go. We're talking. All right, so there's a lot of problematic cards here, to be quite honest. I think I kind of have to take the Thalia just because it's the only one that it prevents us from doing anything. The rest, at least, can somewhat be interacted with by Liliana. But if we can't do anything, then that's pretty rough. On the other hand, I could take the Tideholder Scholar, protect my hand. Next turn, when my opponent plays Thalia, I could play land, play Raven's Cry, make him discard one more. Still kind of leaves us open to getting Leon and Arbiter Ghost Quartered. Gosh, this is very rough. Huh. You have to take the Thalia. I have to take the Thalia. I have to hope to hit a black source. I think it's pretty much that simple. My opponent's going to have cards that interact with us. They're going to have cards that are problematic for us, no matter what happens here. And they're going to Scholar. I mean, the goal here is that if they Scholar the Reckoning, then, you know, hopefully we can just keep our mana open so we don't get Ghost Quartered out of the game. But then hopefully we get to play Bantu's Last Reckoning and destroy this Scholar and the other thing. But if not, we could play Liliana, at least make them discard or sacrifice one of them, and that kind of gets the ball rolling. You know, if we can get one of the tax effects out of the way, that makes the next Liliana follow-up better. Eventually, we unlock cards from our hand. So that's the hope here. Hitting the Urborg is actually a really nice one. As a matter of fact, this might just change what I do here. So my opponent drew that plane, so we know their hand is Ghost Quarter, Arbiter, Flicker Wisp, Eldrazi Temple. So I have the option to make them discard two of those cards. You know, I could make them get rid of, say, the Temple and the Flicker Wisp, leaving them on the Ghost Quarter and the Arbiter, which isn't great for me. But the alternative is just passing. Then my opponent can't Ghost Quarter me out. Then I'm guaranteed to Liliana something. Or Bantu's Last Reckoning. That play might be better. It's honestly, it's kind of counterintuitive. But I think it's true. And I'm going to go ahead and play the Urborg here. Not that I think this... I don't know if it'll matter or not, but I think I want to access if I were to draw a Swamp next turn. I think I want the max amount of black mana here. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but just seems like we should prioritize the black mana over the effect of either of those two cards right now. Plus, we're protecting those from Ghost Quarter this way. So my opponent is just going to attack us for due here. Now, this is the big question for them, because if they add onto the board, they're going to get blown up by the Bantu's Last Reckoning. If they don't, they're in trouble from the Liliana. So I don't particularly envy the position they're in, but you know what? That was honestly the perfect card for them to draw. Thought-Knot Seer answers both problems. You know, that said, this is not the end of the world for us. By any means, we get untap, play our Liliana. And that gives us a card back no matter what. Happy to just play another Swamp too, I think. Alright, so this guarantees a card back. Either our opponents can sacrifice Thought-Knot Seer and we're going to draw a card, or they're going to sacrifice the Tideholder Scholar and we're going to draw... we're going to get back our Liliana. So that's what happens here. So this is honestly not so bad. I mean, if our opponent... You know, they attack our Liliana with Thought-Knot Seer here. They Ghost Quarter Leon and Arbiter us, so we're down to 2 lands. So we play up to 3. We get to play Liliana, hit them again with another sack effect. I don't know. We got to start somewhere, right? This might also be a turn to deploy some Raven's Crime to get cards out of their hand while we can, and hope then that we draw into answers for the board. And that might be what we have to do, especially if our opponent does just go ahead. If they were to just Ghost Quarter us here, that is what's going to happen. Okay. So yeah, they have 2 cards in their hand, and they have 6 power in play. So what I think I'm actually going to do is I'm going to Raven's Crime them twice. All right, they discarded, looks like another Thalia there. Oh, Ravens prime them again, getting rid of the Field of Ruin. We're might need the creature from that Mutavault here. All right, but I think this is a better situation for us. I mean, they say life is a resource, right? But look, now our opponent, if they just draw air here, if they draw just the land or something that doesn't, isn't hugely impactful, then we get to play Liliana onto the board. And there you go. And we still got a long way to go here, but this is a start. And if we had, if we had not gone for the Ravens prime there, if we had tried to, basically make this play we're making now, would have been the same play, except we would have had more life before we made it, but they would have had a Thalia and a Flicker Wisp in hand. I think this is honestly the best we could have done in this game. So we make them sack a creature. That'll get rid of the Leonin Arbiter, so we're at least not going to get land destruction anymore. Unfortunately, down to 2 cards in hand. We're going to lose Liliana here. But look, now Ensnaring Bridge is not an out necessarily. They do have Flicker Wisp in their deck, but it's a big draw for us. And they're going to send the Thought Knot at us. Okay. Let's see what the follow-up is. Displacer's a pretty good one. Bantu's Last Reckoning off the top, please. Yep, that's not exactly what we were looking for. Well, that wasn't good. I'd say our outs are dwindling now. And you know what I'm actually going to do here? Well, I guess if I hit Ensnaring Bridge, I go down to 2, so I'm fine anyways. Okay. It doesn't matter. I was considering, Ravens criming myself so that if we draw Ensnaring Bridge, our opponent can't get through. But fortunately, if we draw a bridge, they won't be able to get through anyways. But this attack is going to put us down to 1, and then our opponent actually gets to Thought Knot our draw step. So, not ideal. But actually, they're sending both of them at Liliana. Okay, Liliana going to play a Fog here. I'm down for that. There's a Fatal Push. This might work. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to, hope that Restoration Angel is honestly disastrous. Oof. Wow, I had such a good plan. Did they target the Displacer? Not even the Thought Knot? Okay, maybe the plan's still on. Look, we fire up the Mutavault here. We block the Thought... Well, I found the problem, which is the Displacer on the Thought Knot, but I guess this is the play we have. Wow, and my opponent's going to do it this way? This works out just fine, actually. This will trigger Revolt as well. I can even do this before damage now. We're going to get the Thought Knot with the Eldrazi Displacer, not able to protect it. And we hit a Davriel. That's not exactly what we were looking for, but hey, gets us another draw step, right? Unfortunately, that'll do it. All right, fair enough. On to the next game. That was close, though. All right, come on. All right, well, I would like some Ratchet Bumps. I would love some Liliana's Triumph in here. Bantu's Last Reckoning, absolutely damnation. All right, there's a lot of cards we want here. Now, what can we get rid of? We've got Davriel. Honestly, man, they've got good cards against us for sure, but honestly, we have a lot of good cards against them as well. That was kind of rough. Kind of rough to watch that one play out because I feel like we're very good against them. All right, this is just a lot of 3-drops here. Something's got to be wrong here, right? Maybe I don't actually need that many Bantu's Reckonings. Question of how much removal is too much removal. Actually going to cut another rack. I'll just roll 61 cards. I don't want to get decked after all. Also, it's just so much easier. You think of all the... they talk about how you only have so much brain power to give it a match of Magic, and that would explain I have very little brain power, which is why you see me make so many mistakes. But no, I mean, making these videos, if you think about how much time you spend debating, you spend so much time thinking about that 23rd or 24th card, or that 60th or 61st card, and you spend so much of your mental anguish on something that matters so little in the scheme of things. Is that justification for just playing 41 and not having to make hard decisions? A little bit. But, hey, we want to make things easy around here. All right, I would like to play first. This hand makes it pretty easy. I think I'm in. It's not a good hand by any means, but it's got Ensnaring Bridge, and I am pretty attracted to just playing an Ensnaring Bridge and making our opponent deal with it. They do have ways to deal with it, but it's not easy for them. And these Mutavaults could actually just do some work. It's very possible I'm overvaluing this, but it's very good. Also, having, when you play against a land destruction deck, just having the extra lands at hand is perfectly fine. So, and that is the plan my opponent is on. I'm almost tempted to just let them do it. In fact, I'm going to take the Flicker Wisp here. I'm going to let my opponent have it because I have the lands to play. And then I have the Mutavaults to trade with the 2/2 after that, where you can just completely invalidate that card with what we have in hand, which leaves our opponent with exactly one relevant threat in hand currently, that being the Restoration Angel. So, yeah, I think I like that line. That's not what I was hoping to draw. I'll play out a Mutavault and pass the turn. Also imagine, if we'd followed that up with a discard spell. Any discard spell there would have had some amount of value. And wow, I think our opponent might have skipped through their turn there. Sorry, friend, that's pretty rough. I'm going to play an Ensnaring Bridge. I should have played my other Mutavault. I was a little thrown off there too, actually. But hey, it's the way they make the game. All right, so the Eldrazi Temple comes down. We know 4 of their 7 cards, I believe. And there comes the Arbiter. It's only fair that my opponent land destructions himself every now and then, right? Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire up this Mutavault. I'm going to play my other Mutavault. Then I'm going to cast Liliana's Triumph, targeting, well, I don't have to target, but hitting my opponent. But notice how I did that so that I can't possibly screw up the Mutavault activation and activate the Summoning Sick 1 on accident. I like, in modern sets, they fix this problem by saying they always give the land haste when they do something like that, and it's, it's so they make it idiot proof, right? But the older cards don't have that built in, which is unfortunate in my case. All right, we showed them. I thought not's going to hit anything. Unfortunately, this Inquisition of Kozilek might not either. Guess we'll find out. I think they do have at least one unknown there, maybe two, apparently multiple. Yeah, okay, so ooh. Displacer or Persecution, huh? Hit that Displacer, please. That would have been bad news, and that's the problem. The one problem there is with us hiding behind this Ensnaring Bridge, as great as it is, our opponent has ways to win the game that don't involve attacking us. They can just Eldrazi Displacer, Thought Knot us out of the game, where we, have access to a very limited number of, instant speed spells that we can cast, where they are just blinking Thought Knot in our draw step. So that, honestly, if we hadn't hit that Displacer there, we would have been, about to run into that problem, and it would have been a disaster for us. So as it stands, this is a little better. So I could Thoughtseize now. My opponent has one unknown. I have a feeling they probably just drew a land, and I Thoughtseize. They play the Restoration Angel. I guess it forces that when we don't have a hand, though, so I'm in. If that way, rather than them doing it in our draw set, which actually what I would have expected them to do, so they could immediately take any relevant card we drew. Instead, we get to force it now, where it probably doesn't matter. We get to see that their hand is not very good. Oh, they chose not to even blink it, I believe. Sure. All right. So look, our opponent has 2 creatures that can't attack. They actually played the so there's the Vial. They have a swamp in hand. We know about it. So we're just in a... There you go. Like I said, I was going to say, we're just in a race to find one of our win conditions, and there's one of them right there. Now, that doesn't exactly do it. After all, our opponent can choose to just hold cards in their hand, and Shrieking Affliction needs them to have one or fewer. So we're going to need to find discard spells or, you know, ideally a Planeswalker like a Liliana or something like that here. But yeah, this game went much more according to plan. Now, I am still worried about them just finding a Displacer or something like that and putting us in a much worse position. So we'll see what they're working with. That is 3 mana for a Flicker Wisp. Well, Flicker Wisp is kind of a problem in itself. As you see there, it hits our Ensnaring Bridge. Now, this isn't going to go perfectly for my opponent, though, because I'm just going to fire up both Mutavaults and block the Thought Knot. I don't see any reason to need to be attacking with them, so we may... Okay, we're gonna get Ghost Quartered. That's fine. So now I can chump block if I want. I see no reason to. I can go down to 11. That seems like a reasonable number. Importantly, it means we're not dead to the next attack from them, which would be for 10. So we get our bridge back now. And there's a Davriel. All right, beautiful. So we can play Davriel, make our opponent discard a card. This is exactly what we needed here. A recurable source of discard. But more than that, this is not only going to get our opponent's last card, leaving them in a situation where their creatures can't attack, but they're taking 5 in their upkeep right now. And even if they hold this card in hand, it means they're taking 5 again next turn. So they're definitely in need of something very good here. You know, another Flicker Wisp doesn't quite do it. It would only put us down to 1. So we've got some time here. And Mutavault is a nice draw. We'll make our opponent discard down to 1 card again. All right, play our Mutavault, pass. So this is pretty much it. I mean, our opponent has to find something right here. And I don't think that they can do it because they can't kill us. No matter what. So I think that we're going to be safe here, and then they should die in their upkeep. Davriel putting in work here. Was the perfect card in that situation. We needed a win condition, but we also need a recurable source of discard, and that sped it up. I mean, that's multiple turns gained by Davriel just doing double duty in the deck. No longer is it, you know, the Rack or Shrieking Affliction plus discard. It's discard plus the Rack all in one card named Davriel. It's very good in the deck. So we get a game now. Can we get another? 61 cards worked out pretty well there, right? All right, on the draw, I really like Delirium Skeins. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I love this card. Each player discards 3. It can just be devastating when they're trying to hold on to something. I'm going to cut a Liliana's Triumph here. I'm actually going to cut a Fatal Push. In a lot of ways, Liliana's Triumph is better because it can be difficult for us. Now, do I want to do anything else here? I think I'm going to cut one more. Liliana, I should cut a 3-drop. I'm going to cut a Liliana of the Veil herself. That's definitely worse on the draw here. Okay, so what am I looking at? I'm looking at a hand that's very nearly keepable. As a matter of fact, got 2 draw steps at it. I'm feeling lucky. I mean, mainly this hand is just very good if it does hit a second land here. And look, there you go. Never didn't have it. We can even stop our opponent's... Well, okay. 2 Thalias and Displacer. I guess I'm taking the Displacer. The Thalia is going to be a problem, don't get me wrong. But the Displacer is a problem long-term that I don't know that we're equipped to deal with, and our opponent has Thalia no matter what. You know, this at least strands cards in their hand, and it slows us down pretty badly, but we do need to find another land now. But at least in the meantime, we can put in a little bit of work here. All right, yeah, I mean, look, if we hit our 3rd land here, our opponent doesn't seem to have... They're going to have to draw anything they've got going on, but if we hit a 3rd land, and we get a Liliana's Triumph away, that Thalia on their instep even, and then untap and play like Liliana plus, something like that. Just something absurdly good. I mean, we've got a lot of ways to get into the game, and there you go. Sometimes pays to be good. I wonder if there's a way to get value off the Liliana's Triumph here. I could play the Liliana minus to kill the Thalia. The issue with that... Oh, I can't play Liliana anyways. So it's Liliana's Triumph for Ratchet Bomb. Those are the options. I'm actually going to play the Ratchet Bomb here. Because this allows us still that option of end of turn. I don't know, maybe it's a similar play, but it deals with our... It gives us the ability, if our opponent has follow-up 2-drops, that it prevents them from coming into play, or it also allows us to, possibly in a perfect world, in-step, kill the Thalia, untap, play Liliana, plus Liliana, keep Liliana around after the Shambling Vent attack, get value off Liliana's Triumph. That's what we're working towards here. It's important that we have goals. And you know what? Now I get to... I actually have the options of how much damage I want to take to make that a reality. Because I can Thoughtseize, which after the attack puts me down to 8. Then I get to take my bomb up. That or play the Triumph for no value. You know what? I'm sticking to the plan. We are sticking to the plan. We are Thoughtseizing our opponent right now. Oh my gosh. All right, so it's a Temple and a Ghost Quarter. Yeah, you know what? Those don't beat me. This might work. I think this plan involves us going down to something like 6 life. Even if our opponent whiffs on this draw step. But think of the value. Think of the value. Alright, so my opponent plays the Temple out of their hand, so they have Ghost Quarter and an Unknown in hand, and here comes actually just the Thalia, so they must have drawn something good. Let's see what they found. An Eldrazi Displacer. Well, you know what? That is a pretty good one. Put a charge counter on that Ratchet Bomb, please. Smallpox, huh? Smallpox is an interesting one. Alright, so I could blow the Ratchet Bomb. Then play the Smallpox, which forces my opponent to throw away either the Shambling Vent or the Displacer. So even if they throw away the Shambling Vent, then I can untap, play Liliana for the Displacer. If I hit a land, if I don't hit a land, I can play the Liliana's Triumph to hopefully get it. Also, right now, I could just pass the turn. I think the best play... I could also pass the turn, blow the bomb in combat, and then play the Triumph. That way, if my opponent tried to fire up the Shambling Vents, I could respond to that by blowing the bomb, then the Triumph, guaranteeing that the Triumph gets the Displacer. But I think the best play is... Well, crud. My opponent can just activate the Displacer too, huh? So, oof. We're in trouble no matter what. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess that doesn't really matter. It's an instant. That doesn't matter at all, actually, come to think of it. So, because it'll come back immediately. None of our effects target. Now, this is a really tough decision here, and I do have to make a decision. I think the play is going to be to Ratchet Bomb away the Thalia, play the Liliana minus. That gets either the Shambling Vent or the Displacer. And if it gets the Shambling Vent, so they value the Displacer, it means that they're, tying their mana up a little. But then we get an untap. We have Liliana's Triumph, or we hit land and have Damnation. All right, I think that's the play we're going to go with. This was a very difficult decision. It's very possible I'm missing something as well, as always, but we'll see. This play also, it values our life total a little bit. Getting the 3 mana card out of our hand sets up Smallpox to be better as well. That's another kind of key part of this, is that whatever happens here, we can untap. If we hit land, imagine we hit land, we Triumph, then we Smallpox. Our opponent's not going to have anything left. And, at that point we can deploy our Shrieking Affliction and hope that they don't draw out of it. But, yeah, this is kind of what I expected to happen here. The Liliana is going to eat the Shambling Vent. Now my opponent's going to use the Displacer to attack Liliana to death. And then we're going to take our turn back and probably cast Smallpox, but what else my opponent does with this one card in their hand is going to be really telling. That's going to be the difference maker, I think, in this game right now. Oh, my opponent's coming at me with the Displacer. That's interesting and probably not good. I don't know. That's still kind of... Oh, a Scholar, huh? Well, you know what? Scholar's actually not going to get you out of this, friend. Well, oh my gosh. Actually, well... Can my opponent respond to the ability by displacing it, making my card be gone forever? And then taking the next one? Uh-oh. Oh no, Galaxy Brain. Oh no. But I think they didn't do it that way. Is that the way it would have worked? Because now if they blink it, I get my Triumph back. Did they just... Would it have worked like that? Okay, so the Scholar comes into play, you target me, then you blink it. That causes the exile... well, then it comes back immediately. So at that point, you have another ETB as well as the Leaves. So you could choose the Leaves. It would resolve. At that point, you have one Tideholder Scholar trigger. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would exile it forever. So our opponent actually could have responded to that. They could have, exiled the Triumph forever, then taken the Smallpox, and we would have had no way to do anything to their board. As it stands, we just drew incredibly well, and now I'm just going to cast Damnation. Yeah, that one is going to be pretty rough for our opponent to come back from. What a clutch draw, as they say, that swamp there. This is a one-lander I believe we kept, say... I've definitely been on the end where I take that calculated risk and you don't get there, but you know what? Sometimes you do. Alright, so nothing my opponent does here with their Displacer means anything. The creatures are all going to come back into play before the Damnation resolves. And my opponent's going to get to take another card, and it's not going to matter in the end here, I believe. I should get all my cards. I should end up with all my cards back. There comes the Triumph. Now the Scholar takes another, then Damnation will resolve, and it all works out the same. Now, I get to play Liliana. I get to plus Liliana, only hitting myself, but that's okay. Gonna get rid of the Smallpox here. No reason to lower my own life total at this point. Or discard or sacrifice any lands. I mean, doesn't hurt my opponent much, and might hurt me. I mean, but now we're in a great spot. Liliana. Oh my gosh, Liliana's Triumph is an instant. I get to do this in my opponent's draw step. This would be disgusting. If they just play a creature here, and then I get to, in their draw step, hit them with the Triumph, that would be sick. I guess it would open myself up. Well, I guess it doesn't matter with the Flicker Wisp here. I guess it would open me up to a Resto Angel to an extent, something like that. But as it turns out, Flicker Wisp not gonna pose that problem. So that's pretty disgusting. All right, let me get my land back here. My opponent knows I have this, so they should know that it's coming. Oh, it's just the actual perfect draw too. All right, so we're gonna play. Well, this is not the perfect draw, but it's a pretty good draw. All right, we're gonna set a. Oh my gosh! All right, set a stop in my opponent's draw step. Not a thing I expected to be doing. I have to say, when I played 8-Rack, I didn't expect to be, casting spells in my opponent's draw step. That's pretty disgusting. I thought the extent of effects you had on your opponent's turn was reminding them to take damage from the rack. Alright, we'll cast Liliana's Triumph, sacrifice a creature, and discard a card. So we do get blown out by Resto Angel, but they didn't have it. Instead, oh my god, that was disgusting. The value! It said they drew a Thought-Knot Seer, which they had to then discard in their draw step, and sacrifice their Flicker Wisp. Well, we get to untap, and now we get to plus our Liliana into safe range here. Pass the turn. Our opponent takes 6 in their upkeep. We have protection from any non-flash creature, I suppose, they might play with our Liliana, so pretty difficult for them to get out of this one. Yeah, I mean, Blade Splicer's good, right? That's a powerful card. It's going to kill us in 2 turns, but we're going to kill them a little sooner. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and make them sacrifice a creature just to be safe. It's certainly not any value to the Liliana otherwise. I mean, our win's on the board. It's just past the turn twice. So just anything we can do to make sure we live a little longer. I mean, hey, now we're not dead to giant growth, right? You always got to keep it in mind. All right, so they'll throw away the Blade Splicer here in all likelihood. But the thing is, honestly, I don't know, outside of life gain, what their path to victory here even is. I suppose they could just draw a Disenchant. That would buy them a turn. Because they go down to 4 here. They could Disenchant, then they only fall to 1 on the next turn. But, you know, then we're only at 1 as well. So, they need a buff spell for their Golem, plus something that destroys, or just another creature. But if they didn't have it, we got their Davriel Rack, taking it down yet again, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern. Let's give it one more go. Hey, everybody. Trying to run it back here with Davriel Rack. This hand looks pretty good. I mean, Inquisition and Fatal Push and Liliana's Triumph and Liliana and 2 lands. I mean, kind of the dream, right? I mean, this is very close. On the play even, we get to look at our opponent's hand and find out what we're up against here. All right, what the heck? I see a Savor the Moment. Oh, now we're talking. Oath of Nissa, Azorius Signet, Jace the Mind Sculptor over there, by the way. Well, I guess I can answer all of this eventually. Suppose I got to take the Birds of Paradise. It's our way of bolting the bird, even though, I mean, we do have an answer to it in the Liliana's Triumph. And not to mention the Fatal Push. I mean, honestly, maybe I should have taken the Savor of the Moment because that's the card we can't answer. I don't know. It feels like our opponent is likely to give us, you know, probably some other targets for these cards at some point. We do still get to Inquisition our opponent again here. And then hopefully play Liliana plus Liliana. Then they play a creature out. We Triumph the creature, hit their hand. There's a Birds of Paradise. Like, we're going to get there in the end. Oh my gosh, the Thoughtseize even beautiful. This is a big one. This will allow us to hit the Jace the Mind Sculptor over here. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put that plan into motion. I'm going to Inquisition my opponent, and I'm going to take the Savor of the Moment. I mean, we have multiple answers for the Birds of Paradise. We have more answers to Birds of Paradise than we do anything else in their hand. So I suppose it all worked out pretty much the same in the end here. Comes a Signet that we don't care much about. Mutavault, that was a big one. It was a big one. It means we get to play Liliana here, and not that Liliana is even insane, but it's not bad either. I actually discard the Fatal Push because in this case, the Triumph is going to function like a strictly better Fatal Push. I know I said the dangerous words there, strictly better, but all right. So hopefully my opponent will play a creature out here. I like it. So the opponent is actually playing. This is, I assume, it's only creatures, not creature or planeswalker. My opponent playing probably the Doubling Season deck over there. I've played it. It's a lot of fun. In fact, some of the coolest videos I've ever done for Mighty Modern were that deck. And, you know, the one thing 8-Rack doesn't do very well is beat the top of the deck. And honestly, this is pretty devastating for us. All right, well, we'll make them discard their last card here. It was a Garrick. Yeah, that's definitely what they're doing. All right, well, I guess we got to fire up the Mutavault. This is not where we want to be. Poking at a Narset Transcendent. Not exactly where I want to live my life. That said, our opponent missed there. We are working on this Liliana. I don't know. Maybe we're going to get somewhere this way. We'll knock the Narset down to 4. Plus Liliana here. Throwing away Raven's Crime, not a problem. I mean, look, even if our opponent finds... They need to find something devastating here, but we get to ultimate our Liliana, and we can put that Narset Transcendent in a pile by itself if we want. I mean, I wouldn't do exactly that, but this Liliana is going to be very powerful. Let's see what they find here. I mean, they could find... They start chaining turn spells together for all we know, right? Nahiri the Harbinger now. Nahiri represents an instant win with Doubling Season. I mean, our deck does seem very well set up to disrupt their combo, right? I don't think they're going to be pulling off the turn 3 Doubling Season kills on us. But that's not the same as beating them, right? That's not the same as being able to beat this value they've got going on right now. All right. Well, follow-up Liliana is actually pretty nice because it means I can ultimate this Liliana without fear. All right. How the heck do I want to make these piles? Probably something like this. This one actually keeps pace with the... What is it? It gives a spell rebound? I mean, that's pretty bad for me, too. Yuck. I could just try to cripple them. I could do something like this. I mean, this is probably what I'm going to do. So we just have to figure out which one of these we want to give them. And the Oath... I mean, okay, so we want to give them probably... This is the most restrictive on their mana, I think. Probably. Maybe something like this. So we want to give him... I actually think I want to give him Narset more than I want to give him Nahiri. Although, yeah, because if it's not anything, they don't get anything. So, alright, so this gives them a limited amount of mana. They don't get to cast anything. I guess these are the piles. This is rough. Alright, that's the opponent. That's the pile my opponent chooses to keep. So, I guess we're going to throw away the Triumph here. We'll get back on the Liliana grind. We hit a Garrick from our opponent. So, look, I don't know what we're hoping for right now, but we're doing what we can do. We're, crossing our fingers that our opponent continues to miss with Narset. And Smallpox just actually not very good here. Yeah. Our opponent's discarding some good ones, that's for sure. Alright, well, you know what? Hey, we'll work on another Liliana. The next Liliana's ultimate is going to be better than the first. I mean, the pressure is on my opponent to find something, and they, again, missed on the Narset. They found a Birds of Paradise. I mean, that's probably not going to get it done, and that was a huge draw for me right there, hitting that Mutavault. Now we get to send this Mutavault back in at the Narset, but having the follow-up Mutavault is just... I say devastating. This is like the most absurd call ever, is to say that I drew a land that could become a 2/2. How powerful. But, hey, and in this case, it actually really is. All right, you're my opponent, and they're digging with Narset again. Oh, they got there. There's a... Kind of. That's a Nahiri. They can cast the Nahiri. But then what? I have double Mutavault and a Liliana out. I get to mess them up again and then attack whatever's left over. And again, we will be throwing away our Liliana to do that, but this one should be a lot more devastating than the last. Smallpox. Is that good? I get to activate one Mutavault. If I'm going to Ultimate Liliana, I can keep Smallpox around, though, which is even more powerful, I think. So the question is, do I attack before or after? Because if I attack before, my opponent throws away the Birds of Paradise to keep the Narset around. Yeah, that's probably worse. I think I just... The other alternative is that I, just kind of let my opponent have a shot over here. What if I played Smallpox? If I attacked, say, Narset... I guess I should attack Nahiri, because that's the one that could theoretically kill me quickly. I attack Nahiri with one Mutavault. I plus Liliana. play Smallpox. My opponent gets rid of their Birds of Paradise. We get rid of one of the swamps we use to cast it. They lose a land. They lose a Birds of Paradise. Then I get a Liliana. Then I get to attack. Or at that point, I get even plus Liliana. All right, that's the play. It's just, I mean, this does make me go down to one black source, which could be a problem, but I think this play leaves my opponent on such few permanents that we're bound to draw out of it first. I hope. It's also going to require me to click these in the right way, but I think that's the play we're going to go with here. I'm going to cast the Smallpox. This is a very tough call. Curious to know what the internet sleuths think of this one, but... Alright, so the back one I'm telling to become a creature. The front one I'm clicking on to pay. Alright, we did it. Alright, so I guess I gotta hit the Nahiri here. Wait, I could Liliana first. Unless I'm thinking I'm gonna plus Liliana. Depends, so I think I can dodge basically one draw step for one turn from my opponent. When they only start the turn with 3 mana, I think I can, which allows me to get an extra turn, which allows me to keep Liliana around. It's a very powerful play, so all right, I think that's what we're going to do here. All right, so that means we attack the Nahiri, just so that nothing weird, they figure out some sort of kind of blocking or removal combination that keeps it around, and then they ultimate on us. So I'm going to be, I guess, greedy here with the Liliana, but... Look, my opponent only has 3 mana to start with. They can Narset into a card and then loot, so they get to see a bunch of cards this turn. Especially if they hit there. I can't actually tell if they did or not. Well, okay, that's one of the very, very few cards they could hit. Oh no, did they rebound it? Did they get me? We're dead? Okay. Guess I couldn't fade a draw step. Wow, how sick was that? Wow, nice game. A lot of turns. Oh, their lands don't untap. Yeah, but that doesn't matter because of the rebound. Look, they get Ultimate Nahiri now. Wait, they plus Nahiri? We're not dead? Search your library for an artifact or creature card put in the battlefield against haste. They don't have any more turns after this, right? Is it in their hand? Did they draw it? Is that what happened? What is going on? It's my turn now, right? I get a Thoughtseize even. What in the world? I thought we were about to get Emrakul and the game was over. Well, now I'm going to ultimate my opponent. This is what you recommend, MTGO? Well, that probably seems about right. What do we got? 4 counters on this thing? The problem is, I don't know, maybe the Nahiri could kill me now. That's the whole point of the deck. They could have discarded the Emrakul if that's what they had. I'm so confused. But I mean, I guess this would be the way to sort the piles. Sure, Magic Online, you know best. I get a Thoughtseize I'm here. I mean, basically the thing is, without us, because I don't have that 4th land at this point, I mean, the Nahiri kills me anyways, right? That's the issue. And those cards don't kill me. Is my opponent being greedy? If I just hit land, I could have punished them. Take the savor of the moment. If they have Emrakul, I'm just dead. Well, I guess I'll attack it anyways. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do here. This game has been bizarre. Is my opponent just going to -8 and kill us now? No, they're going to plus again. What is going on? Is it just... Okay. So maybe they're a Planeswalker deck, but they're not doubling season combo, and there's no Emrakuls involved? We haven't seen Jace, we haven't seen Tamiyo. Those are the cards that, You play the cards that allow you to get free spells to cast Emrakul's for free. That's how, or attack with Emrakul. That's how those decks operate. But my opponent, while they are playing Super Friends here, and pretty sweet Super Friends, they're not actually playing anything broken like that. And maybe Nahiri's just a value piece in the deck. I mean, I guess it's possible. We're just doing so much nothing here, though. It's honestly distressing. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm doing nothing playing... I'm so tempted to just let them have Nahiri. But I'm so scared of letting them ultimate it. If they have something that's good but doesn't kill us, I'm scared of letting them ultimate Nahiri and keep it around for value, right? You know, if they were to just get some sort of good creature with it. So I can get around that just by hitting a land, which we did here. So, all right, that was pretty important here. Also, we do still get the value of taking up our Liliana, but now we're actually making some headway against the, I guess, against the Nahiri. I'm still just absolutely perplexed as to what's going on, but it's going to take a while to kill it this way, but I mean, it's going to take a while to kill them too, and we may as well stop the value train while we can. My opponent just making land drops, by the way, which is actually fairly dangerous to me. But look, we've Liliana ultimated them twice, and I don't know that we are... oh my gosh, and I just clicked through combat. Oh, tilt. I was going to say, we've Liliana ultimated them twice, and it's not clear that we're even winning the game right now. And I just missed an attack and just undid all of our work. That was a pretty bad misclick. Alright, well, my opponent has hit a Narset Transcendent here. New target. Let's see if they whiff here. Down to 24 cards in the library, I suppose? Oh, they hit a Chandra, Torch of Defiance. That's a pretty good one. Can't actually cast it right now, though. They have to add 2 mana different colors with the Interplanar Beacon. And you know what? I actually get to hit a card from... I actually get to hit the Chandra with the Liliana there, so it's pretty nice. Alright, I'm not clicking through my attack step anymore here. Alright, guess we'll get the Narset. The rebound is, of course, the scariest thing here. If our opponent has a turn spell waiting on top and they get a rebound it with Narset, we are just going to die. They hit Chandra. Okay, well, you know what? That's not so bad. Not good for us either. That's the problem. They should see so many cards here. They get a loot. Oath of Nissa to look again. What does this find? This doesn't find turn spells, though. It gets a creature, land, or planeswalker. That doesn't exactly get it done. And in theory, I get to attack the Narset to death this turn. Suddenly here he chills out at 12 counters over there. What a ridiculous game we're playing with this. Alright, well, my opponent's thinking it's through. I mean, it's pretty simple for us. This is where I would not mind drawing Davriel, for instance. Uh-oh. That's a problem. Our opponent found the Jace the Mind Sculptor, and I think the Fate Sealing is going to begin here. Oh, jeez. I mean, their defenses are down. We get an attack, and... oh, they're actually going to Brainstorm. Wow, I actually get to kill Jace. That's a rare treat. Sure would be, you know, I actually wouldn't even hate hitting a 1-mana discard spell here. In fact, I should keep in mind, even if we hit land, there's a Raven's Crime in my graveyard. So, a lot of ways in which this could go, well, not good for us, but maybe less than terrible, if nothing else. Actually, I wonder if I should have ever, I don't know if, I didn't have a choice to activate Liliana. I was going to say, I could have Raven's Crime instead of play that 5th land, but the way we're activating Liliana and attacking it wasn't going to do anything anyways, so... All right, my opponent thinking it through here. I'll note they're down to 18 cards in their library after they resolve this Brainstorm from Jace, while we are at a comfortable 40. Their deck is wild. Wraths, extra turns, Planeswalkers. It's a neat deck. Taking full advantage of Interplanar Beacon, which is actually really powerful in a deck like this in Modern. I mean, it's strong mana fixing. Alright, there we go. We found a rack. Perfect. We could hit our opponent for a card. Not that it was a relevant card, but of course our opponent is protecting their relevant cards on top of their deck. But at least we get to take out Jace. That is actually a pretty rare occurrence. So we are getting actively punished by the rules change here, where you can't direct the rack at a Planeswalker. But I guess at least we're clocking our opponent a little bit here. Yep, all right, there's a Chandra Torture Defiance that our opponent can actually cast now. So that's a problem. We get to fire off a Liliana ultimate. So I guess they're getting hurt by the rule 2 here. All right. Bizarre game. Yeah, I mean they're on a better clock than we are, I think. Throwing away a Windswept Heath. All right, here we go. Inquisition of Kozilek, huh? I'll take it. Deploy the Gatewatch, huh? Neat. I don't really want my opponent to cast that. I won't lie. I mean, fortunately right now they can't. Alright, are we going to Liliana ultimate or are we going to attack? I think I have Liliana ultimate. And maybe that Deploy the Gatewatch might still beat us. I don't even know what they have left in their deck at this point. But, I mean, surely it's some amount of Planeswalkers, so... Can I get away with plussing? Is that even a realistic thing? I could attack the Chandra down to 1. Okay. I guess if we're going to win the game, this is how we do it. Not that I think we're going to win the game, but... See, all that missed attack on that Nahiri didn't matter all that much, did it? Alright, I guess we're going to attack the Narset. That way, at least my opponent can't rebound whatever they're trying to do. So it is possible if they just whip on, what, 3 cards here? The Draw Step, the Narset, and the Nahiri. Oh, and the Chandra. Just 4 cards. Just whiff on 4 cards. Well, that's a Deploy the Gatewatch, so that's not exactly a whiff. That's problematic, as they say. Well, this is where we find out if our opponent has a Planeswalker that answers our Liliana cleanly. If they do, we're in trouble. If they don't, I don't know. I guess somehow the game's still going on. The Mutavaults do still exist. The rack is a clock. I mean, honestly, maybe I should have attacked my opponent down to 7 there. Now, that's an interesting argument, if I should have just been attacking my opponent this entire time. It's so tempting because I'm always just 1 turn away from killing the Planeswalker, and I just like, I'm going to kill this Planeswalker next turn, I'm going to turn the corner, and then they're not going to get us anymore. When maybe all along I should have just been trying to race the Planeswalkers, knowing that my opponent doesn't have a ton of cards that actually interact with our Mutavaults. Maybe that was the plan. Also, my opponent, by the way, looking at the top 7 cards of their library here, they only have 4 left after that. It's very plausible their Planeswalkers are not that good. Now, I say that, obviously, and they hit Gideon, which was insane. They hit only Gideon, as a matter of fact, but only Gideon might be good enough. Gosh, but maybe not. I could actually use Liliana to make my opponent sacrifice, and they're not going to play the Wrath of God. I can make my opponent sacrifice the Knight. Then I could attack the Gideon to death. Is that where we're at right now? Well, the Urborg sure isn't doing much. My opponent has no cards in their hand. I could start things off by Liliana ultimating. That seems like it's probably the right thing to do. I don't have any idea what the piles are going to be, but Liliana ultimating my opponent for the 3rd time seems like probably the right idea. Absurd game, by the way. Okay. That's really... I felt like they had so many more permanents than that. Oh, they do. It's over here. I see. Okay. Alright, I understand. Well, nice to hear. Let's go find the cards that matter. Cards that matter. Narset. Chandra. Gideon. and kind of the Night Ally. What if I just made this pile? Like, how hard is this for my opponent right here? Look, they either keep all if they throw away all their mana, which is a thing they can do, then they have a Knight and a Nahiri, and I don't think they have the ways left in their deck to kill me. And if they take this pile, then I get to attack Gideon to death. And they're left with a Chandra, a Narset, and no mana, except when they get off Chandra. That's not going to kill me. These are the piles. This game's bizarre. And keep in mind, all right, and this is the pile they kept. They threw away those Planeswalkers. Excuse me. All right, well, you know what? We're going to pass the turn to our opponent and their 16 loyalty Nahiri. But they're dead in 3 turns to the Rack. You know, barring what exactly happens here. Maybe I should have attacked. I don't know. No, because if my opponent wants to attack my Liliana, I want to block with this Mutavault here. Value to just getting this, you know, thing off the board for my opponent, because it means that they can't use it as a blocker if they deploy another Planeswalker here that we want to get in with our Mutavault. But we're looking to just stall the game out. And getting into the trials, oh, that'll do it. That'll do it, actually. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, gosh. I mean, the thing is, that was a great draw for them. Okay. Yeah, go on, keep on digging, friend. Oh, they were just plussing because they needed that 17th and 18th loyalty counter for sure. All right. Guess we're just going to need another Liliana ultimate. So what did my opponent do with it? Sorry, I'm going to have to look at the chat log over here. Give me a second. They made the emblem. Okay. Which I can see nowhere, right? I'm sure it's somewhere. I'm sure there's a way to figure it out. Oh, it's just here in the middle. I'm just blind. Okay. All right, so we'll fire up the Mutavault, and I guess we'll poke in at the Gideon here. Actually, I'm going to attack my opponent. Attacking my opponent doesn't do anything. Have to kill a Gideon, or attacking my opponent doesn't mean anything. Wow, this is absurd. This game's actually going to become all about this stupid Gideon right now, because the Rack is going to kill my opponent here in a turn or two. They prevent all the damage from the swamp. If we find an answer to Gideon, basically, almost at any point we're going to win, because our opponent's going to have 0 life. If they win this game, they're going to win the game at 0 life. The problem for them is I don't know how they're going to win. And that certainly doesn't help us. What a bizarre game. I don't know how we're going to deal with this. We don't have a lot of answers to Planeswalkers. Fortunately, I mean, we've got more Mutavaults, right? Alright, we've got another Mutavault in there. Alright, hit our opponent's Wrath of God. This is what? Prevent all damage to be dealt by this permanent. Okay, great. Guess I'll just pass the turn. I mean, look, the good news... Look, the thing is, at the end of all of this, look, my opponent is still in danger, right? We're still ahead in the game as it currently stands, because eventually we're just going to use the Liliana. We're going to separate Gideon and everything my opponent owns as the do piles, and they can either take all their permanents and lose the game, or they can take their Gideon, have no cards left to do anything. You literally have no resources, and be banking on the fact that we have 0 ways to remove Gideon, but obviously we'll eventually draw more Mutavaults and get there. So while our opponent is in fact at 0 life here, and that seems good for them, they are behind. They are behind. They need to find a token producing... Gosh dang it! That'll do it! Oh no! No, no, not like this. Oh no! They needed to find a token producing Planeswalker so that we couldn't just build up to Liliana Ultimate. And you know what? They got there. Oh my gosh. I guess I'm hoping to... I guess at this point, this game's epic either way, right? But I guess at this point, I'm hoping that... I'm hoping that I just draw blockers for a couple more turns. I draw removal. I'm going to chump block the Knight Ally with my Mutavault, but gosh, my opponent can... Oh, it's just over. My opponent can turn Gideons into creatures. We're just dead. What a terrible game. We're going to lose with our opponent at -8 life. Nice game for Gideon. A Gideon Planeswalker, huh? My opponent has multiple. Gosh, honestly, my plan... It probably would have worked, but may not have even worked. Alright, so... My opponent actually, I guess, giving us a window to get in the game here somewhat. I get a block. I mean, I could draw a Wrath. I mean, I guess that doesn't really matter either. Nothing. It doesn't. None of it really matters at this point. They're going to go for the complete victory, the 0 cards. Oh, there you go. All right, I'm just dead. Good game. That was nuts. That was crazy. All right, Ratchet Bombs. I know I need you now. Oh my gosh. Damnation. Yeah, I guess so. I want the Delirium Scheme. It's so hard to beat the top of their deck, though. It feels like I almost need... All right, we're just gonna start back here, and we're gonna go this way about it. And Liliana's just... We have to have Liliana. The spot removal, not very good. In fact, very bad. Let's see here. I mean, the spot removal is not embarrassing, but the fatal pushes are pretty bad, honestly. All right, so the board wipes are better. Yeah, this doesn't do much. It's not the end of the world, but it doesn't do much. I think I'd rather have the... I think I'd probably... it's either Davriel... It's probably the Delirium Schemes. It's a higher impact 3-drop. I think that I would like to just sit behind... You know, some sort of defensive spell like this. Ensnaring... Yeah, this is the kind of game I want to play. I want to Inquisition into... Bridge, and I just want to destroy my opponent's hand and then hide behind an Ensnaring Bridge. That's how I want to play these games. Gonna take the Birds of Paradise here. Extra turns, I'm not going to say they do nothing if you can't attack. They don't do as much, but extra turns are extra turns, and Planeswalker Ultimates are Planeswalker Ultimates. So, honestly, this is probably a bad matchup for us. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, getting of Allies Zendikar, that one concerns me. I'd really would have liked to have hit a spell there. As it stands, it could still work out. I play Liliana next turn. My opponent has a 3 on my... This might work out. There's a rack, not exactly when we wanted it. Let's see what my opponent's doing here. Nothing. Okay. I have to think this one through. I think I throw away the land. Not even... if my opponent's not really... If all they're going to play are token creatures, you know, the Ensnaring Bridge will just beat that. So... The Delirium Schemes is going to be very good, though. The question is, like, if I want to throw away, say, the Bridge, the next turn play Delirium Schemes plus the Rack, my opponent would be down after that to basic, 0 or 1 cards in hand. But if it is 1 and we've thrown away our Bridge, we're in trouble. Alternatively, this is what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to throw away the Swamp. And then next turn I'm going to plan on playing a Bridge. And then hopefully the turn after that, having Delirium Schemes plus the Rack. I think it's better to just not play this game where what we have depends on what they do on their turn. Let's just get our Bridge down and hope that we can use that. I think the problem is Stupid Nahiri. Does Nahiri only get tapped artifacts? Alright, this getting also becomes a 4-4, right? Yeah, that's all very annoying. There's a Thoughtseize. That's just gonna be fodder, I suppose. This honestly might just be exactly where we want to be. Look, I can throw away the Thoughtseize here. Our opponent can't attack with their Gideon. Now, on our turn, hopefully, ideally, we hit land and we go the Rack Delirium Schemes, hitting the last cards in their hand, having Liliana in play, hiding behind a bridge with the ability to just tick Liliana up until we win the game. That's the game I want to play here. We'll see if that works out. Yeah, I mean, when I sideboarded, this is the game I envisioned myself winning, where my opponent has some sort of value engine going on. We're fortunate it's not any stronger than this. But yeah, Ensnaring Bridge will answer these Planeswalkers, and Delirium Schemes will answer what's in their hand here. Also tempting... Got a new plan. A bit of a dangerous plan, but I like this plan. I'm going to play the Rack. I'm going to play Smallpox. This gets rid of the Delirium Schemes. No big deal. Gets rid of another Gideon. Now, it does get rid of a land force, and that's the punishing part. But look, now we get a plus Liliana. We get to get their last card, which was a Savor of the Moment. We get to pass the turn with a Rack going on. Now, they do have the Gideon emblem, so this isn't going to kill them for quite a long time. But look, they're top decking, and they have no way to deal with this Liliana. So, honestly, not that bad for us. Mutavault, pretty solid draw. Nice, our opponent couldn't even play that Narset. Alright, guess we'll start the engine. Guess we'll start the Liliana ultimates up here. Something like this, probably? What happens if my opponent keeps this top pile? That top pile is pretty good, but the Gideon Ally of Zendikar is the scariest one. What happens if I throw one more land down at the bottom? Would that be problematic if I give him like this Oath of Nissa? I mean, this probably doesn't matter too much. I think these piles are okay. I'm trying hard not to overthink these piles too much. One is we only have 5 minutes on the clock, but two for the viewing experience here. But I think these piles seem fine. They keep the top pile, which is a Gideon that doesn't add to the board, but they have creatures. Like, I mean, they can't do anything, but they get in the way of my Mutavaults. Or they keep the token producer, but set their board stake bat so much by the time they hopefully get to anything relevant, we'll have Liliana Ultimate ready again. So, alright, so they chose this option. Works out perfectly fine for me. We will eventually figure out a way to deal with the Gideon of the Trials. Yeah, I think the rest of this game, we're just going to keep cycling through these Liliana Ultimates, and either our opponents are going to find Planeswalkers that beat us, or we're just going to grind them out of permanence. But it is a very slow process to do that. That's the old Savor the Moment, just actual explore there. Our opponent gets to draw a card, play a land. That's their big play. Oh, look at that, the value, actually. As a matter of fact, that was pretty good for them. Alright, Field of Ruin for us, so plus Liliana here. Does Field of Ruin even matter? I mean, their deck is kind of constrained on mana cost, but seems like they have all the mana they need. Yeah, I mean, look, our opponent's actually whiffing on some draw steps here, but we're not in that good of a spot. I mean, honestly, look, we're not doing much here. We are still multiple turns away from doing anything we actually want to do with Liliana. Our opponent has the mana they need. Any number of Planeswalkers off the top of the deck could kill us right now. And this was the problem. If we didn't have pressure, our opponent, again with the exploring Savor of the Moment here, but our opponent just wins the top deck war when they can't lose the game anyways. I mean, look, we did what we were supposed to do there at -19 life, but what I would give for a hero's downfall right about now. Alright, do I get a turn? Sweet. Just what I wanted. Alright, pass the turn back. Getting towards that Liliana ultimate. Alright, did they find something? Nope. Azoria's Signet. Alright, we get another shot at it here. Whew, now we're talking. Alright, Liliana's at 6. This is a big turn. I could ultimate it next turn if I wanted. And then I just put Gideon in one pile. I mean, this is actually kind of it right here, isn't it? I mean, my opponent has one card in hand, and that card needs to be very good. In fact, there's relatively few things it could be. I think we're going to get there. I'm going to put Gideon in one pile. Everything else in the rest, yeah, Garrick doesn't do it. Wow, okay. What a game. I say that like it's over. It's not over, although it's obviously the perfect draw. Where are you at now, Magic Online? I thought you were good at this auto sorting. Alright, so it's Gideon in one pile, because as I understand, they will lose the game if they don't have this Gideon. And everything else in the other pile. Alright, there we go. This Liliana Ultimate, a little better than the last couple we've played. I'll say that. Hey, look at this. We're doing it. We are attacking. No, we're not attacking. There's an Ensnaring Bridge in play. Wow. You know, it didn't seem like a big deal at the time. I was like, oh, man, they changed the way the damage works. Yeah, whatever. 8 racks worse. It's kind of a legitimate thing right here. Our deck can't really beat this. Look, if I want to... if I want to plus my Liliana, I have to discard the cards in my hand, but I kind of need the cards in my hand to get rid of this 16 power Gideon, or 16 loyalty Gideon. What a ridiculous game. That said, this one kind of works. Woo, Nature's Claim for my opponent, actually. Not that that really matters here, right? I do think I want to continue. I mean, this is actually kind of the perfect beat for us. Ooh. Ooh. I mean, my opponent's... I mean, no, that's really good, though. All right, I'm going to fire this Mutavault up again. Ridiculous. All right. I think this is actually the play. I think it's this and then just pass and do nothing. I'm going to lose my clock, aren't I? But Waste Not means that we can actually get value. My opponent's going to be discarding things one way or another, right? So... yeah, see, we get to draw a card off Waste Not here. And granted, that card didn't do anything, but whatever. Oh, we only have the one in hand now. Whoops. Whoops, I guess I walked into that. That's fine. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm playing Rush because of the clock right now. This is why they have Pack Rat in the sideboard of these sometimes. Well, we're actually getting cards off our opponent, too. We're drawing... the Waste Not's doing what we wanted it to do. It's just doing it so slowly. Alright, we'll attack getting down to 12. What is this game? I don't think I'm going to get there on the clock, though. All right, well, you can see that we would have won. We're going to lose to our clock, I think, here, but we would have won this game. I don't know if I can get through this fast enough. I would have to find another creature. Oh, if I only had 30 more seconds. This is too bad. Very sad. I'm sorry I got quiet here. This is very disappointing. It's at 9. Nine seconds. No. Oh well. We would have won the game probably. All right, good game. That's fine. We'll take the loss with dignity because you know what? We would have gotten there. We would have won in the end. Probably. Our opponent actually maybe could have tried out of it, but probably not. We did it in spirit. There's just a few seconds left on the clock, but that's okay, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This deck was surprisingly competitive. Maybe want a few answers to Gideon, though. Maybe, honestly, probably, I think it's Blast Zone, the new card from War of the Spark, the land that comes in with a counter, and you can put more counters on. It seems perfect in this deck. Now, the deck can only support so many colorless sources, and right now it's got the Mutavaults and the Field of Ruins, but it's probably worthy to try cutting one Swamp and one Field of Ruin or something for one or two of those. Just it gives you a lot of ways to interact with permanents. Also deals with Leyline of Sanctity. It's, not very good for the turn 0 ones, but at turn 4 one, it kind of lines up in an okay state with, at least. So a lot of utility to that land, and it's interesting. Under the old rules, and I say old, just 6 months ago, our racks, instead of putting our opponent to negative 104 life and not killing them, would have dealt damage to Gideon. We would have easily won the game. So the deck, it was made better by War of the Spark, but I guess the rules set it back a little bit, so kind of a give and take. But overall, I like where this deck is at right now. It was a lot of fun. You saw it in action. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mining Modern. I'll see you next week. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this is Davriel 8-rack, 7-rack, whatever you want to call it. We've got new cards from War of the Spark to play today. So, salute Poilo, I'm sure I butchered that, but put up a 5-0 finish on Magic Online with this deck, and I've copied the main deck exactly, I believe. So this is going to be a pretty cool one here. So if you're unfamiliar with 8-rack, and somehow I've never played 8-rack on Mining Modern before, I don't think, it's all about the rack. You find it down here. The rack, when it enters the battlefield, choose an opponent. At the beginning of the chosen player's upkeep, it deals X damage to them, where X is 3 minus the number of cards in their hand. So if they have 0 cards, they take 3. If they have 3 cards, they take 0. That's how it works. You throw that in with Shrieking Affliction right here. This is the other, 3 racks, so to speak, depending on how you want to look at it. So this is the other one. It'll get them if they have 1 or fewer. But we get to add Davriel to the mix here. So it's another 3-mana card in the deck, a 3-mana Planeswalker. But it's the first time the deck has ever had access to a card that is both a win condition and a discard effect. One of the problems the deck has is drawing all discard spells and no way to interact with the board, and not like Davriel helps with that, but what Davriel does do is it acts as a discard spell, repeatable source of discard even. You can hit them twice over 2 turns, along with your Liliana. It's very powerful, and it's a win condition all in one. Just having it there means even if your racks are gone, you can still win the game. So filling around that, the other new one here, Liliana's Triumph. Each opponent sacks a creature. It's an instant speed edict effect. This is huge in Modern. Boggles, stuff like that. In fact, having Liliana's Triumph is big, and since we do have Liliana Planeswalkers in the deck, we can make them discard a card as well. It does a lot of work here, Liliana's Triumph. Ensnaring Bridge to hide behind, Fatal Push for a little bit of interaction here. And honestly, that's the deck, everybody. We're going to make them discard their hands. We have Mutavaults even as well, Field of Ruins, some Urborgs down here. This is the deck. We're going to make them discard all of their hands, and then eventually they'll die. We'll figure it out, right? So, sideboard straightforward. Delirium Skynes, when you really just need to get there. Combo player's hand. Damnation, Ratchet Bombs, or Board Wipes. Waste Not, I guess, for value. Bantu's Last Reckoning, and Leyline of the Void, of course, for the applicable matchup. So, going to be a fun one. That's for sure, whether you're watching this at the beginning or the end, everybody. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern, as always, with TCGplayer. Thank you for watching. Let's have some fun with Davriel Rack here.